Good evening. My name is Jay Lockaby. I am the project manager for the state project number 0025-0150. It is the computerized traffic signal system replacement along Route 10 in the town of Cheshire. Listed there below is our project email if you have any questions. I will be showing that project email again later in the presentation. The first thing I want to go over before we get started is how to view captions and subtitles in Zoom. Click Show Captions CC on the bottom, click Speaking Language, and then select the language you like from the list shown. Closed captioning, including non-English translation options, are available on YouTube after the event. A recording of this presentation will also be posted on YouTube after the event is over. A quick meeting overview. I have some housekeeping items to go over before we start our presentation. I will introduce the project team. We'll talk about the purpose of this meeting tonight, an overview of the scope and the limits of the project, some of the project coordination efforts that have been ongoing as we've begun the design of this project. We will go over potential right-of-way impacts. We'll talk about project cost and schedule, and next steps. There are 3 separate ways to submit questions during the question and answer session that we'll have at the end of this. You can also submit any questions throughout this presentation, but you can send questions to our project email, which is dotproject.project-0150@ct.gov. You can also leave a voicemail on our phone number 860-594-2020. You can also use the Q&A function on the Zoom calls that I will go over on the next slide. And then we have a project webpage where you can reference the project materials after this meeting is over. Our official comment period is open through November 7th, 2024. But the Zoom Q&A is only available during this live Zoom session. How to use the Zoom Q&A. Select the Q&A tool at the bottom of the Zoom webinar menu. The Q&A window will open as seen on this slide. Please type your question into the text box and click enter. If you are an audio-only participant, dial *9 to raise and lower your hand. This slide is our civil rights Title VI slide that states no person shall, on the basis of race, color, or national origin, be excluded from participation or subject to discrimination in the development of this project. We have a post-meeting survey that can be found at the link shown on this slide. We appreciate any feedback that we receive on how we can better do these meetings for public involvement. Further civil rights information is also at the link for our Title VI page. And like I said earlier, a recording of this presentation will be posted to our YouTube channel after the event. And I discussed the closed captioning options earlier. This slide is the official Title VI notice to the public that says any person who believes she or he has been aggrieved by any unlawful discriminatory practice under Title VI may file a complaint with the CTDOT. For more information, or the procedures to file a complaint, you can contact the CTDOT Title VI coordinator at 860-594-2169 TRS-711 or email deborah.goss@ct.gov. And this next slide is the Title VI notice posted in Spanish. And I'll just give a minute to allow people to read this. All right, with that, I will introduce the project team for this project. We have Matthew Bloom, who is the CTDOT Division Chief of Traffic Engineering. Lisa Conroy is the CTDOT Principal Engineer for the Traffic Signals Unit within the Division of Traffic Engineering. Myself, Jay Lockerbie, who is the project manager for this project. We also have Malcolm Thomas, who is the representative from our Division of Rights of Way. Queasy Brown is the project manager for SLR International Corporation and is the design manager for this project. Thomas Daly is a project engineer for Gannett Fleming. And Michael Dion is a consultant liaison for CTDOT from BL Companies and will be helping us out on some of the back-end question and answer session things at the end of the presentation. With that, I will hand it over to Queasy to go into some of the details of the design of this project and to provide an overview.
Yeah, thank you very much, Jay. And again, good evening, everyone. Queasy Brown with SLR. So the purpose of tonight's meeting is really to provide an overview of the project and also to give a status update on where we are in the process. But more importantly, what we are trying to get is to really obtain feedback from the public in terms of any issues or concerns or any things that we should be cognizant of as we advance our design of this project. Next slide, please. So just a quick overview of the project limits. So we are focusing our efforts on approximately 4.8 mile segment of Route 10 in Cheshire. As you know, Route 10 is classified as a principal arterial and it basically carries about over 15,000 vehicles on a daily basis. The 4.8 mile segment that we are looking at comprises 19 intersections. With the southernmost terminus of the project area being the Cook Hill Road intersection with Route 10, as you can see on the graphic on the left. And then you advance through the corridor with the northern terminus being the Industrial Avenue intersection with Route 10. So we're looking at 19 intersections, 19 signals. Of these 19 signals, 14 of them are going to be full replacement of the equipment. Those are highlighted in the green on the graphic. And then 5 of those are going to be partial replacements, and those are highlighted in yellow, the yellow dot on the graphic. And I'll go into a little bit more detail about these locations through the presentation. Next slide, please. So why are we doing this project? The purpose and need is really to replace aging signal infrastructure. A lot of the signals are over 20 years old and are in dire need of replacement. Additionally, we are looking to improve traffic operations and safety, not just for motorists or vehicles, but also for pedestrians and bicyclists and transit users within the corridor. In terms of the improvements that we are looking at, new signal equipment at these intersections, as I talked about, pedestrian accommodation improvements as well in terms of ramps and crosswalks, etc. We're looking to implement flashing yellow arrow at some intersections to enhance safety for left-turning vehicles at those intersections. We'll be looking to implement new vehicle detection at the intersections, fiber optic communications between the individual traffic lights along the corridor to enhance traffic flow, and also improved access to transit stops. There are a number of bus stops along the corridor, and the goal is to improve access to these stops. And then finally, improve illumination adjacent to transit stops as well as crosswalks in line with the Connecticut DOT Complete Streets Directive. Next slide, please. So I'm going to spend a few minutes to just touch on each of these 19 intersections. I know they are a lot. I'll do my best to not be too detailed and to touch on some of the key aspects of each intersection. And what you would see is, in terms of existing conditions and existing needs, that you're going to see a recurring theme as I talk through each of these 19 intersections. So the first intersection which is again the southernmost intersection within the corridor, is the Cook Hill Road at Route 10 intersection. As you can see, this is from the aerial on the right. It's a five-legged intersection, a little atypical, unconventional. But currently, in terms of the signal equipment that is out there, they have the span wire. And as you can see from the graphic, there are no crosswalks at this location, and there are no pedestrian signal equipment at all at this location. So, and there is currently a bus stop at this location. And we also found out from talking to town staff that there's a planned transit improvement project. I believe is the Elim Park bus stop improvement project that will be looking to enhance some of the the transit stops at this location. So that's something that we'll be cognizant of as we go through our design. Next slide. And so what we are looking, as you can see from this graph, we are looking to implement crosswalks on all legs in line with the full replacement of the equipment, and also to implement pedestrian signal improvements at this location as well. This is one of the full replacement intersections that we will be looking at for this project. Next slide. This next intersection, which is intersection 25222, is the Big Y Shopping Center at Route 10 intersection. As you can see, again, this is also a full replacement location. As you can see from the graphic again and some of the photos, there's two crosswalks at this location, one across the Big Y driveway, and then one across the southern leg of Route 10. The Big Y driveway does not have any pedestrian signals. The crosswalk across Route 10 has pedestrian signals on either side of the crosswalk. So what we are looking to do is to obviously introduce crosswalks on all the legs at this location, and also to improve all the signal equipment, including pedestrian signals at this location. Next slide. The next intersection to the north is the Cheshire Shopping Center intersection. Again, is a recurring theme. This is a span wire design for the signal traffic signal lights. There's currently one crosswalk across the southern leg of the intersection. That's Route 10, and there's currently a PET signal at either end of the crosswalk. Again, there's no bus stop here. One of what we are looking to do is to implement crosswalks on all the legs. Obviously, a full replacement with pedestrian signals, new controllers, new illumination, etc. So this is, again, it's a full replacement in terms of the signal equipment. Next slide. The next intersection to the north is the Route 10 at Route 42 intersection. This is the first of the 5 partial upgrade intersections. This intersection currently has the mast arms. This is not a span wire design. It's got the mast arms, and the mast arms are fairly new. So we will be doing a partial upgrade. As you can see, there's only one crosswalk across the north leg of the Route 10, of Route 10. And what we'll be looking to do is obviously enhance the pedestrian signal infrastructure at this location. We are proposing to have an additional crosswalk across Route 42, sorry, as part of the improvements as well. But the mast arm and the signal heads are going to remain, and we're going to focus our efforts more on the pedestrian signal infrastructure at this location, and some vehicular detection improvements as well. Next slide. Next intersection is the Higgins Road at Route 10 intersection. Again, this is a span wire design. There is currently one crosswalk across Higgins Road. There is no pedestrian signal equipment at all. And there is currently a bus stop at this location as well. So this is a full replacement again. So all the things that we've talked about, looking to add additional crosswalks, ramp improvements, pedestrian signal equipment, improved access to the bus stop at this location as well will be looked at for this intersection. Next slide. Next one up is the Cheshire High School Drive intersection with Route 10. This is a partial upgrade location. As you can see, there's crosswalks on 3 legs at this location. There are pedestrian signal equipment. This is currently a span wire design. And for the partial upgrade, again, we are focusing our efforts on the pedestrian signal infrastructure upgrades. We are looking to add an additional crosswalk across the southern leg of Route 10, and also to provide new pedestrian signal equipment at this location, as well as advanced detection for vehicles at this location. Next slide. Next one is Route 10 at Lanyon Drive. Again, this is a full replacement location. I just wanted to point out that there's a planned DOT project at this location with improved sidewalk connection between Lanyon Drive and Cornwall Avenue. The sidewalk is going to be run along the western side of Route 10. So that's something that we're going to be cognizant of as we go through our design. In terms of the equipment, this is a span wire design. As you can see, there's 2 crosswalks, one across Route 10, one across Lanyon Drive, and the goal is to have 2 additional crosswalks on all legs of the intersection with pedestrian signal improvements as well. Next slide. Cornwall Avenue is a partial upgrade. Again, I already talked about the sidewalk connection between Cornwall and Lanyon Drive. We'll be looking to add an additional crosswalk across the south leg of Route 10, and with enhanced pedestrian signal equipment, new ramps, as well as improved vehicular detection at the intersection. Next slide. The next one is Route 68 and Route 70 Academy Road at Route 10 intersection. This is close to Cheshire Academy. This is a full replacement as well. There's currently crosswalks on all legs. We'll be looking to keep that as part of our design, but we'll be replacing all the equipment again at this location with improved pedestrian access and vehicular vehicular detection as well for this location. Next slide. Similar to Academy Road, Main Street, which is the northern junction of this intersection, would be a full replacement. Again, similar to Academy Road, and all new equipment. We'll be keeping the crosswalks, enhancing the ramps, and making it safe for pedestrians as well. Next slide. The next one is the Maplecroft Plaza. It's close to Stop and Shop. This is a partial upgrade. We will be looking, again, focusing on pedestrian signal upgrades, looking to put a new crosswalk across Route 10, where we are not showing any crosswalk currently on the area, and also providing improved vehicular detection at this location. Next slide. The next intersection, this is a Stop and Shop intersection. This is a full replacement. We're looking to again, add crosswalks on the remaining 2 legs at this location. pedestrian signal and vehicular signal enhancements as well to improve traffic flow and safety for all the users going through this corridor. Next slide, sorry. Route 10 at Hinman Street. This is also a full replacement. Just wanted to point out that there is a sidewalk improvement project along the east side of Route 10 is planned from Mitchell Drive, East Mitchell Drive to Hinman Street as part of I believe it's a private development project. But again, that's something that we found out in talking with town staff and will be factored in as we go through our design for this intersection. As you can see, there's only one crosswalk. There are no PED signals at this location, and we'll be looking to implement full replacement of all the equipment at this location with enhanced crosswalks and pedestrian signal equipment as well. Next slide. The next intersection is Weeks Road at Route 10. Weeks Road is the main access to the Highland Elementary School, which is to the right on that area on the screen. And special emphasis on improving pedestrian safety at this location as well. This is a full replacement. So we'll be replacing all the equipment with additional crosswalks, enhanced improved ramps and pedestrian signal equipment at this location as well, with improved detection. Next slide. Route 10 at Maple Avenue. Again, this is a full replacement location. What we'll be looking at is, again, with replacing the existing span wire design, and replacing all the pedestrian signals currently existing at this intersection. There's one on each end of the crosswalks at this location, but they are old and need to be replaced. And we'll be keeping the crosswalks on all legs at this intersection as well. Next slide. Route 10 at Country Club Road is a full replacement. It currently has crosswalks on all legs, as you can see, with pedestrian signal equipment, but we'll be replacing all of that with new ramps as well, and with new vehicular equipment, traffic signal equipment, with detection and enhanced communication as well at this location. Next slide. Jarvis Street, this intersection currently has a mast arm. There's a single mast arm. It's old and obviously needs to be replaced. There are no crosswalks, no ramps at this location. And so again, it's a full replacement. So new crosswalks on all legs, ramps, pedestrian signal equipment, and new vehicular signal equipment as well at this location. Next slide. Route 10 at Creamy Road. This is a partial upgrade. The pedestrian signals here are fairly new. They have mast arms, and there's currently one crosswalk across the south leg of the intersection across Route 10 with pedestrian signal equipment. But again, we want to make it safer. So we'll be adding additional crosswalks on the remaining 3 legs with pedestrian signal equipment. And improved vehicular detection at this location as well. And then finally, the northern terminus of the project corridor is Industrial Avenue. This location also does have a mast arm, a single mast arm, which is old. As you can see from the aerial and the pictures, really no crosswalks or dedicated pedestrian signals. And so we'll be looking to enhance safety at this location, particularly with, I believe there's a preschool just on the bottom left of that area. And so where students actually pick the bus at this location every morning. And so it's important to enhance safety at this location with additional crosswalks, pedestrian signal equipment, and just improved infrastructure throughout. We'll be also looking to make sure that there's enough room for trucks navigating through this intersection. That's one of the things that came up when we met with town staff, in particular the police chief, to make sure that there's enough room for trucks to navigate turns as they go through this intersection. Next slide. So I know it was long, but it's giving you sort of a flavor of the existing conditions. And I already sort of touched on some of the improvements, but I'll just reiterate that what we are really looking to do in terms of improvements with the traffic signal equipment is to introduce new mast arms instead of the span wire design, obviously with new traffic signal heads, with new detection for vehicles, new controllers to control the intersections. Emergency preemption equipment would be upgraded as well throughout the corridor, and also improved communication between the 19 traffic signals as well within the corridor to ensure good traffic flow within the corridor. Next slide. With respect to pedestrian accommodations, I already sort of touched on, but again, it will be new crosswalks with ADA compliant ramps. We'll be looking to add in new sidewalk connecting ramps to the various bus stops within the corridor, pedestrian signals with push button upgrades. And then also we'll be implementing blank out signs, which have indications of no turn on red or turning vehicles used to pedestrians to enhance safety for pedestrians as they navigate through the intersections within the project area. Next slide. So with that, I'll hand over to Tom Daly to talk a little bit about detection and the fiber communications within the corridor. Tom.
Great, thanks. Thank you, Kwesi. So yes, as part of the signal improvements, we'll be upgrading the vehicle detection equipment. This will include 360-degree bell cameras, which are shown in the photo in the upper right. These are used for stop bar detection for all approaches to detect the presence of vehicles waiting at the stop bar as a trigger to switch the cycle from red to green. And then radar detectors, which are shown in the bottom right, will be installed, and these are used for advanced detection of the approach vehicles along Route 10. They detect the vehicles several hundred feet in advance of the intersection and extend the signal green time to allow the approaching vehicles time to clear the intersection. Next slide. And then, so the fiber optic communication systems will be upgraded as part of the project to help improve corridor performance and mobility. The new fiber optic communications will replace the existing copper wire system. The fiber optic cable will run the entire length of the corridor and connect to each of the traffic signals, allowing for communications and coordination between the intersections. A master signal controller will include a wireless cellular system that communicates to the DOT operations center. These communication systems upgrades will provide a more reliable network and enhance the DOT's ability to respond to operational issues and traffic incidents. And with that, I believe I turn it back to Kwesi.
Thank you, Tom. So we feel that it's really important to really have a good project coordination throughout this project. And so we've already started doing that, obviously working closely with Connecticut DOT, but it's imperative that we're working closely with the town engineering staff as well. So we had a meeting in September, and we were able to get some good feedback from town staff as well as the police chief. we were able to talk about some of the town projects and initiatives that we should be cognizant of that I sort of touched on previously during the presentation, such as the East Mitchell Avenue sidewalks, the Ellen Park bus stop projects. And so it's important to sort of coordinate all these initiatives and all these projects. And in addition, we'll be coordinating with the utility companies throughout the process to make sure that there are no missteps. We'll be scheduling a virtual utility meeting and field utility meetings as well throughout this project. And we're going to continue coordinating with the town to make sure every step of the way to make sure that we're on the same page and this project is successful. Next slide. I want to, at this point, ask Malcolm Thomas to talk a little bit about the right-of-way process, but really, as we go through this project, we anticipate that there will be some impacts to property in terms of traffic easements, but that process is ongoing and we haven't finalized those impacts yet. So it's important that, you know, as we identify these easements, we're going to have to go through the Connecticut DOT rights-of-way process. And I would want to invite Malcolm Thomas to just talk to us a little bit about that process and what it entails. So next slide, Malcolm.
Thank you, Kwesi. As mentioned, I'm Malcolm Thomas. I'm the Assistant Project Coordinator with the Department of Transportation Rights-of-Way Division. Our office's responsibilities are acquiring the needed property rights and property for transportation projects throughout the state. I'm here to provide a brief overview of the acquisition process required and the required property rights to be acquired in accordance to the State General Statute Section 13A-73 and 13A-98E, as well as the Uniform Act. As mentioned, this property or project will require acquisition of property rights. Specific property impacts for this project are still being finalized, and may need changes as the design progresses. Slide 2, please. Once the design has progressed to a development milestone and all the impacts from the project have been determined, the right-of-way acquisition process will begin. Impacted property owners will receive a formal letter of intent to acquire, along with the property map, which is depicted on the screen, to depict the exact property rights to be acquired. Our office will determine a fair market value for those property rights, which they'll be used to establish an offer of just compensation. The offer will be sent to the property owner in writing, and a right-of-way agent will be available to meet with the property owner to explain the project, go over specific impacts to their property, and explain the state's offer. The property owner will have a reasonable amount of time, which is typically 30 days, to consider the state's offer to enter in negotiations. Once the agreement is reached, the department will prepare the necessary paperwork to record the necessary conveyance documents and property maps on the town's land records. If an agreement cannot be reached to keep the schedule, and the department if an agreement cannot be reached to keep the project schedule, the department may acquire the necessary property rights through the power of eminent domain, which is the state's file of a notice of condemnation on the Supreme Court, along with the monetary deposit in the amount of the state's offer. The owner will have 6 months from the date to file an appeal if they felt the state's offer was inadequate. Whether or not the owner chooses to appeal, the money will be deposited into the court and is available to be withdrawn by the owner at any time. It's important to note the state will only acquire property rights needed for the project. If there's any questions regarding right-of-way acquisition, the right-of-way acquisition process, I can answer them during the Q&A portion of tonight's meeting, or you could leave a comment in the Zoom Q&A. And I believe back to Kwesi to continue the presentation.
Thank you, Malcolm. So in terms of project cost and schedule, we currently are anticipating a construction budget of about 8.4 million, which is 80% federally funded and 20% state funded. But of course, as we go through our design, this number is going to be fine-tuned as we to get a firm number by the end of our design. In terms of the schedule, we completed preliminary engineering, and our preliminary design is currently under review with Connecticut DOT. We anticipate to complete semi-final design in March of 2025, with final design plans completed in October of next year, and hopefully advertising of the project in January 2026, with a construction start date of summer of 2026. Next slide. So in terms of next steps, hopefully, we're going to get feedback, obviously, from Connecticut DOT on the preliminary design. We'll be looking to advance the semi-final design. And part of that process is to really incorporate any feedback that we're going to be receiving from the public today to further fine-tune our design. We'll obviously identify rights-of-way needs, as Malcolm talked about. And we're going to have continued coordination with the utility companies and with the town to further advance this project. Next slide. And so with that, I will hand over to Jay.
Great. Thanks, Kwesi, Malcolm, and Tom as well. Appreciate you guys helping out with the presentation. That concludes our formal presentation for the design portion of this traffic signal replacement project along Route 10. As I said earlier, there are 3 separate ways to submit comments and questions to the project team. We have our project email, that is dotproject0025-0150@ct.gov. We also have a phone number where you can leave a voicemail and we'll call you back, 860-594-2020. And then you can also use the live Q&A on our Zoom call right now. That is our project webpage that has further information. It is https://portalCheshire0025-0150. Our comment period is open through November 7th, 2024. However, our live Q&A sessions is only available now, but you can feel free to submit any question or comments through those other 3 methods, or the other through our email, our phone, or with our contact information on the project webpage. With that, I'll bring on Mike Dion. Do we have any questions in the live Q&A chat?
Thanks, Jay. We do have one question in the chat. I believe it's going to be for Kwesi to answer. Mr. Long has asked, at the Cook Hill intersection, are you putting in pedestrian devices on all 4 corners?
Yes, we are. So as I think I showed it in the presentation, we are going to have crosswalks on all 4 legs, and at the end of each crosswalk, we are going to have pedestrian signal equipment. So yes, that is correct.
That's the only questions in the chat. Mr. Long, I hope that answered your question. If you have a follow-up, maybe you can post it into the Q&A and we can discuss more. But yes, designer is planning crosswalks and pedestrian equipment on all 4 legs of the intersection.
Great. Thanks, Kwesi. Mike. Just give a few more minutes for people to submit any questions or comments they may have. Like I said, our required minimum open comment period is through November 7th, 2024. That doesn't mean that we won't answer any questions after that, but we do work closely with the town, as Kwesi said, to make sure the town's needs are addressed through this project. So we will continue doing that. So if you have any, that's always a good coordination to have with the town. So, but we do have these three different ways of submitting questions for this project specifically that we will respond to by our generic DOT project 0025-0150 at ct.gov email address. Our voicemail listed there, 860-594-2020, and by the live Q&A. Mike, I'm not seeing any other Q&As on the Zoom, are you?
I am not seeing any as of right now.
All right. We'll just leave a few more minutes just in case anybody else has some last minute questions. I guess I'll just say it one more time. We have our project email. We also have our voicemail, 594-2020. And we will have the recording of this presentation posted on YouTube tomorrow morning on our CTDOT YouTube channel. All right, just 2 more minutes, and then we'll close out the meeting. I want to thank everybody who attended. We really appreciate it. And we also have a voluntary survey that I believe was posted in the chat. Yes, it is. Yes, the DOT survey is posted in the chat. If you have any feedback, we welcome the feedback. And any further questions that come up in the next couple of weeks, our lines are still open. So I think with that, I guess we'll call it. I once again want to thank everybody for coming. And we appreciate your feedback. Thank you very much.